Okay, as you can see, talking about overrated comic book shows today. Ah man, I just tried to film this and then I realized 5 minutes in that it wasn't recording, so I'm a little dreary about that. But anyways, hopefully you guys don't murder me over this alone because two of them are very controversial. One of them is kind of controversial. Number one's X-Men '97. Ooh. What I mean by poor story structure or seasonal structure, as we see there, is that I just don't think it's structured that well. I think the first three episodes and the last four episodes are structured really well. Then the middle part is just completely off. A, Motendo sucks. Get rid of Motendo. Replace it for something else. And Life Death probably should have just been one episode, but doesn't matter. So Life Death, if we're going with that structure, Life Death Part One with some better episode than Motendo. Yeah, and then we put Life Death Part 2 afterwards and make that episode 5 and make Remember it episode 6. And you may be saying, but Ryan, that spoils the ending to episode 5 and the whole twist on that. And to that, you would be right, which is why you get rid of the 5 seconds of animation that show the twist that Gambit died and Genosha got attacked. Just don't show it. It's not that hard. Just get rid of the animation. Just imply that Charles Xavier saw something so bad they had to get back to Earth and feel that he's alive. And Storm's just very shocked. Right? Something terrible happened to X-Men, which just builds intensity for the next episode. Anyways, next one is it's not as good as compared to other shows. Yeah, I still agree on that. I mean, this is a 9.7 out of 10. This is X-Men 97. This is Daredevil, a show. Okay, 9.6. Loki, 8.2. Legion, 8.1. I believe The Boys is also an 8.6. Penguin is like an 8.5. you hearing this? Those shows are so millions of miles better than X-Men 97, and they're all lower rated. Like, who's deciding? I could be wrong about the Penguin score. Could be higher. But, man, who is making this? Like, especially Daredevil. Daredevil is, and Legion. Actually, these three, Daredevil, Legion, and Loki, are just so much better than X-Men 97 that I'm just, like, kind of appalled how it's higher rated. And it was there's no standout fantastic character in my opinion. There's good characters. There's even great characters. I think Magneto and Storm are two great characters, and Rogue. I think those are three great characters. But there's no character where I'm like, oh, they're the good one. Like, no, I'm just kind of like, they're they're great characters. But if we put like honestly, I'd say if we put like, for example, if we put the best character in this show's quality into actually one of these, like Loki or Daredevil, they'd just be an okay or average character. They would be a middle of the road character for those shows, in my opinion. So it's just a little weird how people are like, "Oh, it's the best thing Marvel's ever made." Or yeah, I've seen people say it's the best X-Men quality ever. It's the best thing Disney Plus have ever produced. It's the best thing from Marvel since Endgame. Like, no, it's not. Yeah, I mean, Loki season 2 came out like 6 months earlier, so I do not get how people have that opinion. Um, Also, I say Magneto, Storm, and Rogue, but that's mainly just because they had the by far best vocal performance. So who knows? It's a still very, very good show. I gave it like a 9.10 the last time I reviewed it. Like, I still really like this show. I just think it's really overrated. Anyways, next one is What If Season 1? Man, I do not get revisionist history, guys. What If Season 1? I used to be a defender of. I used to be like, oh, guys, it's not that bad. It's a good season. I still kind of hold that. It's a solid season of television, but when there's only two great episodes, or two truly amazing episodes, which is the Doctor Strange episode, that's a 10 out of 10, and the Ultron episode, which is just amazing. But that is canceled out by the fact that it has Party Thor episode, one of the worst episodes in the show. It is genuinely terrible. It is generally so bad. This is like Love and Thunder's except with getting rid of the few positives that movie has, and then making it worse, making the negatives worse somehow. Like, I don't know. And then Marvel Zombies, it's not good. It's not good at all. It's like the show is so much better. And then the Killmonger episode also, like, it's just not good at all in my opinion. It's like half an episode, and even then the episode's not that good. So yeah. And also, for as much as people like to hate on Captain Carter in the later seasons, this is by far her worst appearance in the show. She did peak in season 2 with having 2 great episodes focused around her, like 2 actually like really great episodes. And then season 3 she went down a bit, but she was still better than season 1. Her episode in this was just compared to her 2 episodes in season 2, which were actually just really great. Speaking of which, season 2 is just miles better than season 1. Feels like every episode other than 2 are just great episodes. Like episode 1 where Nebula joins the Nova Corps, the 80s Avengers, the Iron Man and Sakaar, the Captain Carter episode, the Winter Soldier the Cohorty episode, the Hela 10 Rings one, the 1804 episode. Those are all really great episodes. Some of them are really great. Some of them are just great. But like, yeah, and then people just throw it with season 3, which I already think is overhated. Season 3 is literally just season 1, but lesser. The best episode is worse than the. What was I about to say? The best episodes are worse than the best episode of season 1. Sure. But the worst episode of season 3 is a lot better than the worst episode of season 1. So, yeah, I mean, somehow season 2 got looped in with that. It really shouldn't have. Season 2 is the peak of What If. And, like, even if you look back at when creators were originally making content about it and talking about it, like, Doomblazer, he was one of them. I brought him in the other video. I really like him. I keep on bringing up his bad takes. I have only brought up his bad takes, but he's a good content creator. Anyways, he made a video as soon as it came out, and he was like, oh yeah, season 2 is a huge improvement based on season 1. And now suddenly everyone, even in his community, have just thrown it to the side, said it's terrible, season 1's the only good one. It was not. Okay, next. Moon Knight. Okay, I actually do like Moon Knight, but people consider it like a top 5 MCU show. It's not. It's not. I do need to rewatch it, but it's not even like a great MCU show. You know, it's a good one. It's sometimes really good, and it is severely hurt by its. I'll just say lackluster finale. It was had some good moments, but then fell off in others. It's sad that we're not getting a season 2. I think that would have really helped the show, and yeah, it's still good. So yeah. This is where I'm starting to pick for straws and overratedness. Like, to be fair, I have not seen every comic book show ever, so I can't really determine if they're overrated. And real quick thing, yes, everyone overrates a show in some way or another. Like, I've seen people say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. one of the best shows of all time, greatest Marvel show ever. That's not true. I've seen people say Legion is one of, if not the greatest show of all time. That's not true, and I love Legion. Like even me, I consider Daredevil is one of my like top probably 5 shows of all time, maybe top 3. But that's because I just haven't seen enough superb shows. Now I do think is still season 3 is like still masterpiece and stuff like that. I feel like if I were to watch like Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, Sopranos, The Wire, Band of Brothers, those really high rate shows, I feel like it would be kicked off my top 5. But yeah. Anyways, I do think a lot of comic book shows are really overrated. But yeah, I just wanted to say that real quick. Next is Falcon Winter Soldier. This used to be like properly rated in how everyone said it sucked. Cause it does suck. Ooh. Well, okay. Yeah, genuinely, this show is just terrible. There are a few things I like about it. let's start with positives. I really like Sam and Bucky's dynamic, and I think Zemo coming back's cool. John Walker's great, and that's it. That's literally Val coming into the MCU, or at least for her second appearance. That was pretty cool. But man, okay, let's just start it. Flag Smashers. I think bottom three MCU films. They are absolutely terrible. They are some of the worst. I don't have a fan here. I thought I had something like grab on right here. I did not, and it was. Oh, I hate the Flag Smashers so much. They're such terrible villains. They're so bad. Okay, and I'll talk about something. Abhorrent finale has This is it worse than Secret Invasion's finale? No, I don't think it's quite that bad, but it's right there. I mean, it's terrible. It is terrible. I mean, like, especially the speech Sam gives to the senators after becoming Captain America. That was just that may be the worst scene in the MCU. It's one of them. It is most definitely one of them. I mean, you gotta do better. You gotta do better, Senator. Sorry for the terrible impression. Um, don't yeah, sorry for that, but bro, it's so bad. That scene is so bad. It's like it is on a basic level. Not even watching the show. It's something that throws nuance out the window. It is stupid. It is dumb in every way, shape, and form in that scene. But it's also just not well written. For example, a line that really just irks me is when Sam is like, "Oh, you," or he's like, I was like, "There's never been a black man wearing the stars and stripes." That is literally just not true. True. Rhodey exists. He was literally the Iron Patriot. He was a symbol for the American government. Captain America isn't even supposed to represent America. Iron Patriot does. His whole point is to be the American hero. And who was he? A black man. Again, which brings me to my second point. It is a terrible racism allegory. One of my biggest problems with that is Isaiah Bradley. His story just straight up doesn't work for a racism allegory, and I'll explain. So, I keep on thinking there's something there. Anyways, yes, on paper it makes sense. Is a black man was tortured and imprisoned because he had the super soldier serum. That's the problem. Because he had the super soldier serum. That is where it becomes a stupid thing. Sure, you can say it's racism, but it's a dumb argument. Because if it was everyone in his league or in his group had it worked. Then yeah, but he was the only one in prison. Yeah, it would be that would be an amazing change. That would have really helped that allegory. But the problem is, he was the only one with the super soldier serum, and we have seen that yes, they will torture and they will do all these bad things to get the super soldier serum. And it leads the more reasonable explanation for why he was captured and imprisoned was because he had the super soldier serum. That worked, not because he was black. So it doesn't make sense. It just fell on its plate. If oh my god, that was a sentence. It fell fat. It fell flat on its face because it just didn't want to add a single thing that his entire squadron had the super soldier serum, not just him, instead of just it being him. Oh my god. There's a lot more I can talk about. For example, about let's go a little bit more on racism allegory. It's just also really shoehorned in, I feel like. Maybe because I don't know, because especially one line, the kid calling or them calling Sam the Black Falcon. Maybe I'm dumb, and there could be a chance that I am remembering something that in Winter Soldier he took up the Falcon role. But from what I remember, the only public superhero Falcon there's ever been was Sam. If there was, let's say, if Sam was picking up the role of the Falcon from a white guy, then sure, I guess you could write it in, even though I do think it's lazy dialogue. But it just doesn't even make sense. And I remember Bucky's story. Actually, when I rewatched it, I remember Bucky's story being a lot better than it was. It was not good. It was not even good. It was so bad. Generally, this series sucks. I do not get how people say it's good. Invincible. Okay, before you murder me, I really do like the show. I really, really do. I think the first season, the third season, while having, especially the third season, while having a lot of flaws, is actually fantastic. But it's way too highly rated. It also has an 8.7 out of 10, just like X-Men 97. And whew, again, it's just so undeserved. I believe I've said this before. Every single season of Daredevil is better than any season of Invincible. I would argue Daredevil Born Again season 1 is right about the same quality as Invincible season 1 and 3. Like um you know what? I can talk about how I think the Cecil argument was just very poorly written in a very weak version of the Daredevil versus Punisher argument, and how it does not challenge. No one challenges Mark, and everyone just paints Cecil as wrong, and they don't give them a reason to believe he's wrong because he's justifying everything he's done. And I get that's mostly personal opinion, and I could go into how it's poorly written later. And oh, I forgot to mention how terrible the power scaling of the series is. Yes, this series has some truly abhorrent power scaling. Generally, maybe some of the worst I've ever seen. Like right there with like those people who nitpick CW's Flash. That is the problems of Invincible are actually at that level. Um, it is most definitely not the greatest comic book show of all time. Far from it, in my opinion. Honestly, I also think every season of Loki is better. I think almost every season of Legion is better. I think, I think a lot more is better than this show. And I'll say it. Yes, this series has bad animation. I'm not gonna sugar talk it like, oh, it's not the best anime. No, it's bad animation. And I don't get why people always are like, oh, but there's so many hardworking animators. You can't critique that. Although they only really do it when it's a show that they like. Um, but yes, there are a lot of hardworking animators working at Prime to animate Invincible. But here's the thing. Why don't you guys hold this up for? I feel like 90% of people who say, oh, you really have to defend the animation because it takes a lot of work. I feel like 90% of the people who say that then go and critique Quantumania for its CGI. Or a bunch of bad comic book film, or a bunch of comic book films with bad CGI. Why are you doing that? You know how much work it takes to make CGI? Yeah, that's my opinion on it. Like, yes, you can critique something if it has bad animation, even if you like the project. It has bad animation. You can say that. For example, Quantumania. I bet the people working Quantumania took a lot of work and a lot of time to make the CGI for that film. And I bet, especially since they were most likely rushed, it probably was a very hard thing to do. But I'm still going to say it had a lot of moments of just truly terrible CGI. And Invincible does have good animation, but only sometimes. And I mean, I also short critiquing it, and it was like, I put the Immortal PNG one, and people are like, "Oh, that's the worst moment in the show." It's really not. Yeah, I feel like that is almost every scene where it's not a fight scene. For example, when Eve and Mark were on the rooftop, I remember there's a thing where like Mark's entire right arm was just cropped out of frame because they used the PNG. Like, it is lazy animation. It is not good. Anyways, Invincible War is very overrated, and I think a little bit about the finale. Yes, I do think this episode is a 10 out of 10 episode. Not for IMDb standards. And I don't even think it's a 9.7 or even close to a 10 out of 10. I think it is at most like a 9 out of 10. So let's go off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, every episode that is lower rated than the Invincible War, but it's far, far better. And some of these will apply to I Thought You'd Never Shut Up. So let's start. Let's see. Out of Time, Enter Zoom, Enter Flash Time, The Last Temptation of Barry Allen, Leon Yu, Capuchon, The Promise, Slab Side Redemption. Yeah, I'll skip the Arrowverse shows for now, or Arrow for now. Here I go again. The fixed point. Um, brief. Ugh. A brief reminiscence between cataclysmic events. I think what's it called? Whatever kills me makes me stronger. Or Superman Lois season 3 finale. A regular guy. Or the first 3 episodes of Superman Lois season 4. A regular guy. It went by so fast. Sorry, trying to think of all of them. What else? Oh yes. Virtue the vicious, home, danger close. Close. Whirlwind, aka Sin Bin, and speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. Daredevil, Penny and Dime, New York's finest. Guilty as sin, 7 minutes in heaven, a man in the box, a cold day in Hell's Kitchen. I'm not lying. I think every single episode in Daredevil season 3 is better than Invincible. Is better than the Invincible War. Okay. Legion, chapter 5, chapter 7, chapter 20, chapter 21, chapter 24, and chapter 25, I think, are all better. Loki, let's move to that. Glorious Purpose, finale, Heart of the TVA, science fiction, Ouroboros, that's it. And the Nexus Point, in the Void, or whichever episode that was about. And do you want me to keep going? Because I absolutely can. But I honestly don't want to keep going. But I think I think a good chunk of those episodes are better than I Thought You'd Never Shut Up, and all of them are better than the Invincible War. Anyways, oh my god. Anyway, the show is still fantastic. Also, season 2 it's really good. It's actually not really good. It's good, almost great. It's just you can't have a good, almost great, and be the greatest comic book show of all time. Okay. Eyes of Wakanda. Okay, here's my thing. I think every Black Panther project is very overrated. I think the first Black Panther movie was good, and that's it. I've seen sites say it is the number one Marvel movie. It's a masterpiece. It's amazing. It's perfect. 10 out of 10. It's not. Yes, Killmonger's a good villain, even though I don't like some of the things they do with his character, like him breaking his own ideology and being a hypocrite in the very first scene that he shows up in. Um, and I also don't really like the supporting cast other than Okoye, T'Challa, and, well, Killmonger. I think everyone outside of it, Ulysses S. Claw is just wasted. He didn't need to kill him. They literally prove Killmonger right, but in order to make him a bad guy, they make him kill people. I think that's a lazy way to make someone a bad guy. Although I probably like villains that do that. But again, Killmonger's still a great villain. Don't get me wrong. And CGI, okay. I know people are crazy about the score. I'm not that crazy about it. It's a good score. Not great, but not one of the best. MCU's best. Um, there's more. I don't think it's the best visually looking. Sometimes it's quite dark. I don't think it has the great cinematography. Does not have that good of CGI. I mean, I could literally keep going. I think it's a good film, nothing else. I mean, my Letterboxd account has it out of 29 out of every MCU project, except they're missing some of the MCU shows because they won't be added, and they're missing like some Netflix shows. And some of them would bring it down. So it's probably like 33 actually. And then Wakanda Forever, I don't know if it's overrated. I think it's a good movie. I actually don't think it's that far behind in how good Black Panther is. I really like Namor. I think Shuri and Ramona made a lot better. And I think it would have definitely been a better film. I know that's kind of crazy. I think it definitely would have been a better film if, and only if, it isn't one of the most horribly paced MCU films I've ever seen. Like genuinely, it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, which I'm fine with. Endgame's my second favorite MCU film. Infinity Wars is my favorite. Guardians is also one of my favorite. Guardians 3 is also one of my favorite. And so No Way Home. Those are all about the same length. And the reason why I hate this pacing is because it's so just horribly paced. Like an hour before it finished, I was like, okay, so we're wrapping up now, right? we didn't wrap up. Anyways, now to Eyes of Wakanda. It's okay. I mean, eh, I, I mean, each episode is good, kinda. I think the first episode was pretty good. I think the one with Achilles is pretty good, even though I don't really like how they did Achilles, but whatever. My biggest problem is how this series just squandered the immense potential of following Wakanda throughout its time, throughout ages. Instead, they decided to just do Wakandans in random places that we thought would be cool. Somehow they squandered an Iron Fist episode by having just a really annoying protagonist. Anyways, I think in the finale just totally does not follow the time travel rules. Also, don't get this by I hate the Black Panther franchise. I really like Black Panther. Like, he's so awesome. I mean, him in Secret Wars 2016 or 2015, John Hateman Secret Wars is absolutely chef's kiss, fantastic. I really like Black Panther. I just think the MCU is squandering it. Like, I loved him in Civil War. He was amazing in Civil War. He's amazing in Infinity Wars. Any time that he's outside of his project, that Wakanda and Black Panther is outside of its own project, I love it. Some reason the MCU project, I just don't like it. Also, I really don't like how they just absolutely ruined the Horde. If you don't know what the Horde is, it is basically an Eternal villain, I guess. It's kind of the opposite or a rival to the Celestials. If you would know it from a comic run, my suggestion is that one comic run where the Fulcrum is introduced and the Celestials and the Horde are battling over these planets, and then Tiamat goes to the Fulcrum and then he ascends, basically. If that doesn't make sense, I suggest search up what the Fulcrum is because you'll probably get that comic run. And the Horde are just so wasted by from these basically cosmic space deities that are arguably in some comics shown stronger than Celestials are now able to be defeated by a burnt down Wakanda. Like, just doesn't fit. Okay, wow, this is long. Okay, most overhated. These are my top three. Overrated. Now, here's the thing. First one out is Falcon Winter Soldier. You may be shocked by that, but my biggest problem is some people still, some reasonable people. Sorry, I'm gonna check the time. Oh my god, that's long. Anyways, some reasonable people still say and reasonably say that yeah, it's over. That it's not that good. It's a pretty bad series. And it's only a few that say it's just good, nothing great, just good. Which is why I can't really keep it up there, even though I think it is out of these two left, it's far worse. I mean, I was probably the most mad there because of how terrible that series is. Anyways, now which one is it? X-Men 97, Invincible. Honestly, they fall under the same category. These shows have the same ratings, both anime, both been called the greatest comic book show of all time, and I both think they're wrong, and I both think there's much better projects. So which one is it? And it's Invincible. How are you able to tell? Man, I like. Don't get me wrong. I love Invincible. I love I'm really hyped for season 4. I think it could be amazing. But I just, I don't want to rant. And this video has gone to almost 30 minutes. Jenna, like, I don't even get how. I thought I was gonna actually run out of time because, or have too little time because there was only 6 shows, and somehow I stretched it even longer than the other video. Proves to shows that it's way easier to talk about something you hate more than you love. But, yeah. Okay. That's the end of this video. Bye.